We are honored to have our respected director, ma'am, Professor Dr. Maninder Kaur with us. I now request, ma'am, to kindly address you all.
Thank you, Dr. Evelyn. It's very nice hearing your voice again on this third day of Atal FGP. I welcome all the participants who are there on besides having a hectic day, I can understand the schedule was too tight for everyone, and still everyone is in the way to be a part of this Atal FDP. I congratulate everyone, and I hope that everyone is enjoying the session, including this third day of today's Atal FDP, and that definitely looking forward to be an innovative and an informative session. I welcome you once again, all, and good evening. And I hope that everybody will stay with us till the end of the session so that the maximum benefit can be taken by the resource persons who are there to alight with the session. Thanks a lot, and have a good evening with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your motivating words and constant encouragement. Moving ahead, it is my privilege to introduce our first speaker of the day, Dr. Ankit Rajpal, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Delhi since November 2020. He has recently been awarded two research publication awards. He has completed several research projects. He has been awarded two international and one national patent. So, Dr. Rajpal is a respected academician and a researcher whose work reflects a deep understanding of data analytics and its intersection with artificial intelligence in business and research contexts. He will be delivering his session on the topic Using AI in Analytics, a subject that explores how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing analytical practices, enabling smarter insights, and empowering data driven decision making. As the saying goes, data becomes powerful when it turns into insight, and AI is the mind that helps uncover it. We are privileged to have you with us today, sir. On behalf of Guru Nanak Institute of Management, I extend a warm welcome and invite you to commence the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. Uh, it's my privilege to be called for the as a resource person for this prestigious FDP, uh, and I'm here to talk about the deep dive into deep neural network. Before I begin, I would like to share my screen. So just allow me to share my screen.
Yeah, sir, you can share your screen.
Yeah, I'm just doing that. Yeah, please let me know when you see my screen. Is it
Yeah, it's
visible?
visible. Visible.
Yes. So just wait. Yeah. So uh, thank you so much. So I'm Dr. Ankit Rajpal, going to talk about deep dive into the deep neural network. Uh, so Before I begin, I would like to quote. I would like to begin with a quote by Jeffrey Hinton. The brain has about 100 million neurons, each of which is connected to thousands of other neurons. That's the kind of complexity we are trying to replicate in neural networks. So he talked about this thing when the deep neural network and particularly in 2012 when the GPUs, that is graphical processing unit, got affordable by various companies, the brands, and the people were capable of using those. And so the resurgence in the use of neural network happened in 2012, and Jeffrey Hinton quoted this particular thing in the year 2012 after that. So when we talk about neurons in the brain, when he talked about that we are going to replicate in the neural networks, the brain consists of neurons, then dendrites, and then axon. And these three things actually helps us to transmit the electrical pulses to other neuron, and the connections between these neurons help us to transmit the electrical pulses from one particular component of our uh, brain to the other body parts. So uh, the as I said already that when it was earlier introduced in 1980s, and of course 1950 was the when the Rosenblatt gave the first concept of perceptron. In 1980s also, people were interested in studying this neural networks. But later, due to the computational complexity and high demand of memory, that time we were very much short of hardware and all these things. So the support vector machines and the decision trees, they were popular, they were getting popular, and this neural network lost its charm that time. But thanks to the introduction to the increased computational power due to GPUs and increased memory, and the people can afford it. Apart from that, the use of deep learning has definitely helped us to uh, see that resurgence in the use of neural networks to implement the improved algorithms which can do wonders in the real world. For example, one can see the use of this networks in the traffic monitoring. When we talk about object detection, when you see the augmented reality in the in your Google Maps when you visit countries. You get to see the objects as you are immersed in that particular environment. So you get in real time the help where to go. So thanks to the advanced neural networks, and that is what we are going to dive in this particular lecture. So when I talk about neural network, uh, before going to the actual concept of neural network, we would like to give you some sort of intuition behind that. For example, in real world, let's say if I want to find out whether my product is going to be a top seller or not. So, or in other words, whether it's going to the demand of that product is going to be good, or of course or bad. So based on various factors, say at one particular place we will be talking about its price, its shipping cost, marketing, and material. So these are the four things which we could perceive as a part of the input. And what we want to predict whether that particular product is going to be a top seller or not. So, if you see it closely, on the input layer, if you suppose there are four factors, and these factors are known as the features. Though, if I can say the feature one is known as X1, the feature two is known as X2, the feature three is marketing, which is known as X3, and based on this material, it is the X4. So what are we going to judge in the neural networks? make use of some layers, intermediate layers before predicting something. So this intermediate layer helps us to create new activations, and it is also to create new features. From the four features, we would like to create three features, that is affordability, awareness, and perceived quality. And so I would like to know this affordability is majorly, I can say, determined by the concept of, let's say, when you talk about price and shipping cost. As we are all aware, when we buy any particular product, the affordability is decided with the help of its price and the shipping cost. On the awareness part, if you see, the awareness part is always influenced by the marketing. So I am making use of some these features which are now defined in terms of many other factors, let's say price, shipping cost, marketing. But if I see it very closely, this affordability is highly influenced by price and the shipping cost. So I can just call it as one, and this also as one, and this is also as one. So this one is influenced by this majorly by price and shipping cost. The awareness, on the other hand, is the second feature, which is mostly and highly influenced by the marketing, as we all aware. And when you talk about perceived quality, the perceived quality is highly influenced by, if I call it as the third feature engineered by this. So the third feature engineered by this is majorly influenced by the material. But here, I would like to quote one more thing. Let's say when you talk about perceived quality, it is somewhat influenced by it many a times whenever we see the price of a particular product higher at the higher side, some way it contributes you to think that that product is the having the higher perceived quality. So I would like to say that price also plays a very important role in knowing the perceived quality. So what we could see, although there is a connection from price to affordability also, price to awareness also, and price to perceived quality also, and same it with the shipping cost, marketing, material, with all other features, you see all the connections. But the neural networks, as inspired from the human brain, it is only getting affected or more affected by the things which are influencing those particular features. For example, affordability, as we said, is highly influenced by price and shipping cost. So the weight between the price and the affordability, and the weight between the price and the perceived quality, is going to be higher as compared to the weight between the price and the awareness. So what is this weight? When you talk about weight, the human brain, whenever there is any electrical pulse between two axons, then there the this impulses, actually the weight tells you that how important that particular thing is for you. So similarly here, while predicting the probability whether the product is going to be a top seller or not, we are using price, shipping cost, marketing, and material, and but indirectly we are using it to define affordability, awareness, and perceived quality, which further affects the decision that whether it is going to be the at the higher side. For example, if I just talk about, the probability is always between 0 to 1. So if it is more towards 1, then it has high demand prediction, high demand. And if it is on the 0 side, then it is low, means the demand is not good. So this is a simple intuition for building a neural network. Here you see there are four numbers which are getting reduced to three numbers, and later it is getting it to one number. And this one number is between 0 to 1, which decides whether if it is towards the one side, then I should bring it a decision to be a top seller. And if it is at zero side, we bring the decision that it is to be it is not a top seller. Is this fine? Okay, I'd like to get the feedback also side by side. So if any time you find any problem, you can just uh, raise your hand, and if otherwise you can just put write something on your chat also. I will like to hear it from you also, and of course, uh, it should be a two-way interaction. Okay, so when I see the previous, it was having a real life example here. When you see this X, which was price, marketing, material, and all those things, this has become a vector now. Why vector? Because vector is the collection of some scalars. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first feature was correspond to x1, this was x2, this was x3, and this was for x4. So all together are called a x vector, which is also known as your input. Okay. After the input, you get to see some sort of intermediate layer. The intermediate layer is also known as, in the neural network, the concept is known as hidden layer. And you can have many hidden layers before reaching to the output layer. Point to be noted, this particular neural network is having two hidden layers and one output layer. So it is known as multi-layer perceptron. Also, we call it as three-layer neural network. We don't count this input as a part of your layers. So it is a three-layer neural network. Similarly, on the right, you see three hidden layer plus one output layer. So I can call it as four-layer neural network, or I can say it's a multi-layer neural network. Is this part clear? Okay. Uh, I may request the organizers if side by side, if you find, because I would be having difficulty in switching between the windows. So in case you find any question there, I would love to answer in between my lecture. I'd love to do that. And so that will help me to go in some sort of continuation, and it will help me to interact with the audience. Okay. So, am I am I audible, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay. So to build more, of course, the intuition behind this particular thing, suppose you have your 1,000 x 1,000 image, and this is an image, and we call it as gray scale image. I hope you would be having a session on some sort of image processing also in your this thing. So 1,000 rows and 1,000 columns means you will be having 1,000 x 1,000 number of cells in it. Here, one cell, two cell, three cell. These cells are known as the pixel intensity values. Pixel intensity. Whenever we perceive a picture, like on the left hand side, this is this something which we see, but this is something on the right hand side, this is what our computer sees. So for the face recognition, we take this numbers, this pixel intensity values, which are generally, not generally, always between 0 to 255, because to generate a 8-bit number, 8-bit, this is a 8-bit image. So 8-bit unsigned can generate 0 to 255 values. So all values here are between 0 to 255. So when I take this pixel intensity values and make a vector out of it, then it becomes a input. This 1 million values becomes the input for my neural network, which is going to be my next slide. So you see, this x now has become a vector, which becomes the the input to my neural network. And for getting more insights here, the source of this paper is convolutional deep belief network, which for scalable unsupervised learning. So the authors tried to visualize the black box implemented by the neural network. Why I am calling it as a black box? Because the neural network sets the weights and the biases and the parameters, and they don't even uh, reveal that what insights it is actually finding in a particular layer. But thanks to deep belief network and explainable AI nowadays, through which we can see that in the first layer, it is trying to understand what all horizontal edges, vertical edges we have in the face. Then later, these horizontal edge and vertical edges contributed to in the construction of ear, nose, throat, and all those things. And later, in the later layers, means the higher level layers, it learns the higher level features like the face. And at the output layer, it gives you the probability of being the person XYZ. For example, I have 100 of the people of that kind, and for each 100, I have some sort of 20 images each subject. So what I'm doing, I give to the neural network an ability to learn out of this 20. Say I give for each subject, I give 15 images each subject for learning uh, to the neural network. And so neural network gets an ability to learn the features behind the first subject, second subject, and as well as all 100 subjects. And later, if out of this 100 subjects, anyone come on the door and ask for entry, then this out of this 100 people, if someone enters, then since they are already registered, so neural network uh, checks whether it is among the set of registered users. If it is, then the entry is permitted. Otherwise, entry is not permitted. So the face recognition has many other applications. For example, when you talk about any sort of uh, CCTV footage, and I would like to catch some suspect which come under that CCTV surveillance, then that low resolution images can can help to detect that particular, or I can say to catch that person, the criminal, based on that particular entries which are there in the criminal database already in the police or the uh, like the crime scene detectors, the investigation officers. So as we move ahead, we take you to the more insights to the neural network. So as we have already begun, so as I said, the input is not counted in the number of layers. Although I have put the layer 0 here, but while counting the number of layers, I'll be just counting these 4 layers. So it is a 4-layer neural network. Here, just for the analogy, we are just trying to supply the name layer here, but later we are going to totally get rid of that particular thing. Now, what is X? X is input, and when the layer 1 does something, it gives another vector which is also known as A1. Then we get to see the after the second layer, we get to see another vector which is called A2. What does this A stands for? The A stands for activations. And precisely when I say A vector, it is known as activation vector. But what is more important here is that these are also a number. These are also a vector of numbers. This is also a vector of numbers, and here also numbers. And later on A4, you get to see one number, but that number helps us to decide whether if the probability is higher to the one side, then it should be a positive class. And if the one number which is on the 0 side, then it should be a negative class. So this is the forward propagation, when I get to see this formula is nothing new and it has some intuition behind it. So, for example, I take you to some, let's say, insight here. So, when I take this first neural network, first layer, and I take, let's say, the second layer, and third layer, and then let's say fourth layer. So, uh, so before that, I have say x1, x2, dot dot dot, x, say 10. So 10 number of say features are there, and it helps us to connect it to this also, that also, this also, this also. So we have some dot here. So let's say here also we have 1, 2, 3, and say 4. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 1, 2, 3, and last but not the least is 1. Only one node here. So what is this forward propagation tells? When I say the forward propagation, I assume this to be some vector, say a. Since we are on the first layer, I call it as a1. Since we are since we are at the second layer, we call it as a2. Since we are at the third layer, we call it as a3. And last but not the least is a4. Although it is one number, but still I can call it as a vector because vector can also have one particular number. So what is this forward propagation talks about? As we can just switch between the windows. I can take you to that slide again. This AJL, what is AJL? AJL says, what is L stands for here? L stands for the layer number. So this is 1, 2, 3. So L is 1 for the first layer, second layer L is 2, and then so on. We are calling it as WJ dot. What is this dot? Dot states dot product. But since whenever we multiply two vectors, we multiply them using dot product or cross product. Here we are talking about dot product plus BJL. Now, what are these two quantities which we are talking about? I am going to take you to again to my notes where I am going to mimic the same. So here, when you connect this and that with this and this and this, what are these connected with? These are connected with some weights. Say W1, W2, W3, W4. And to be more precise, since I'm associating each and everything with the first feature, so I can call it as 1, W21, W31, W41. Similarly, when X2 is connected with the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, then their weights would be called as again 1, 2, 3, 4. But now later, since it is associated with X2, I should call it as W12, W22, W32, and W42. Similarly, X10 and so on. But what would be the size of that particular matrix? Because it's going to be a matrix. That matrix is going to be the size 4 here, 10 here. So it would be 4 cross 10 matrix. And what is this matrix? This is known as W1. And since it's a matrix, I don't call it as a vector. So the dimension of that particular matrix will be 4 cross 10 as evident by number of neurons in the hidden layer. First are how many? 4. And these are how many input? These are 10 inputs. So 4 cross 10, we call it as reverse, where we don't put 10 into 4 because while multiplying two matrices or vectors, we need to align them in such a manner that the dimension should match. So I should take you more forward. So when this W1 has to get multiplied with this X, what is the dimension of X? X is 10 cross 1. So as I said, it is just to align with this thing. W1 is 4 cross 10 and X is 10 cross 1. You all know that when you multiply those matrices where the number of columns in the first matrix aligned with the number of rows in the second, then you can multiply those matrices. But one bias is also involved. What is this bias? Bias is something which can balance this particular quantity. Whenever we say there is a line is when which takes the decision. This line W talks about the slope, and this B stands for the intercept. So this B is the bias element which is always added with each neuron in the hidden layer. So what would be the answer here? The answer after multiplying this 4 cross 10 and 10 cross 1 would be 4 cross 1. As you all know, when you do plus, means any two matrices are added, then this quantity should also be equal to with the same dimension, that is 4 cross 1. This makes the two matrices conformant. So the B size would be also 4 cross 1. I will take you back to this slide. So from here, the internal part is clear. This part we have already defined there. This WJL, when I am on the first layer, it is 1, and A vector L minus 1 denotes at that particular time when L is equal to 1, as you evident, it would be A0. And for your information, A0 is also known as X. To make it uh, like like common equation for all those subsequent layers, we do that. So AJ2, say it would be equal to I can talk about this G later, but what is this WJ? What is WJ? WJ2 multiplied by A1 because 1 less, and I talk BJL. So what is this precisely? I can talk about these things. Uh, these are known as the weights. This is the activation of the previous layer. When I talk about second layer, I talk about the activation of the previous layer. So by this particular rule, you get to see the internal quantity to be activated via a simple function called G. What is G? G is known as, for information, G is known as activation function, and this will come in the subsequent slide. Why do we call activation? Why do we need an activation function? We'll talk about it now. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. Suppose we have a handwritten digit recognition to be done. What is handwritten digit recognition? The we would like to only classify between the digits like written like a 0 or 1 in handwritten manner, and those images which are generally 8 cross 8 pass to a neural network, and the neural network will give me the probability whether it looks like 1 or 0. As you can see on the right hand side, there is a 8 cross 8 image. But if you see, the values are either 0 or 255. 255 stands for, let's say, all white, and once yeah, this 00 stands for all black. When you see white background and there is black something in between, then you get to see by human eye, this looks like a pattern which looks like 1. I want to give this capability to my neural network, which takes this input. How this input will take? So this 255, 255, 255, all these will be arranged as a vector X, as we have done in the previous slide. And those will go here in the 25 units, 15 units, as this can vary as per your choice, but I'm taking an example. Say at the first layer, we are taking 25. In the second layer, we are taking 15. In the on the last and the output layer, we are taking only 1 unit. This 1 unit is having some probability, and this probability is telling me if it is at the higher side, then it is the positive class. Say one class I'm taking it as positive, and another class I can take it as a negative. Anything greater than 0.5 is considered to be the in the favor of the class 1, and anything which is lower, less than 0.5, can be considered as the zero digit. This is very similar to if I want to classify between cat or non-cat. If I have two classes, it is very similar to, let's say, just talk about disease leaf or non-disease leaf. So healthy leaf, chest X-ray, healthy chest X-ray, or the pneumonia chest X-ray or COVID, whatever. So if I'm talking about two class classification problem, it is very, very similar to that. At the output layer, we are getting some probability. Any probability which is higher than 0.5 goes in the favor of the positive class, otherwise in the negative class. So this slide is almost same as the previous. Now, if I have taken 25 units here, 15 units here, and then 1 unit there, then A3 will give me some sort of the value. That is, if the image is digit 1, then it is giving me yes, as we have decided already. 0.5 say upper values will be taken as yes, and 0.5 say less values will be taken as 1. So this G will help. What is this G? Now G, as I told, it is an activation function. Generally, at the output layer, we use sigmoid is a popular choice. If I have two class classification problem, sigmoid is a function of this kind, 1 upon 1 upon 1 plus e की power x. And if I say it is, if I call it as a g of x, so this has a capability, this function has a capability of taking, for any x, it can take the value and bring it between 0 to 1. This is the main crux here, that this g is chosen to be the last G, is chosen to be always a, for the two class classification, is always to be a sigmoid. But in between, like to activate, to get this activation or that activation, you can use some other choices. Later, I'll in the slides, I'll also talk about ReLU, leaky ReLU, preferably 10H, and as the time decides, we'll do more if there'll be more we can do. Okay, so this is a small implementation in TensorFlow if you want to get some idea. Here the TensorFlow statement, some statements are just to import sequential, dense, and all these things, but here to create the model which contains the first layer to have 25 units, you see that 25 units, then the second layer has having the 15 units, the 15 units, and the last layer is having what, how many units? 1 unit. Each particular layer are activated via sigmoid. As I have already mentioned, it is 1 upon 1 plus e की power minus x. And later, when you reach to the output layer, you check, you check how many, let's say, if I call it as the y hat to be the prediction, say 1 or 0, and 1 or 0, and I match this with actual y. This is y hat, means this is predicted, and y means this is the actual. We see the how many times the neural network which has been trained, which has taken only one forward propagation, how many times this one predicted as 1, how many times this 1 predicted as 0, how many times this 0 predicted as, so I'm just doing it like the actual one. How many times this 1 is predicted as 1? How many times the 1 is predicted as 0? And so on. So from this particular part, we calculate some sort of loss. And this loss is known as binary cross entropy. the formula will come in the next slide. But how is this loss? The loss is generally considered to be the sum of squared errors. So what we do, the y hat, the predicted one and the actual one, we generally take the square of them and mean around all the samples. If there are m samples, I call it as I is equal to 1 to m, and this together is known as loss. And the binary cross entropy is here. I am talking about the binary cross entropy is something else, but I am talking about one simple example of loss, which is called mean squared error. The mean squared error here signifies that there is a difference between the actual and predicted. The more is the difference, more would be the loss. Less would be the difference, less would be the loss. So mean squared error is one of the example. Another loss is, I'll show you in the later slides. Okay, so as I said already that we have many choices for the activation function. This G as precisely can take different forms. One form is very easy to understand, that whatever comes inside, I'll give the same output. So this is considered to be the linear activation function, or also known as no activation function in machine learning neural networks. And as I already mentioned, another activation function called sigmoid, which we have already mentioned in the previous, is taking this shape like this. And as the shape itself suggests that this number is closer to 0 and this close to 1. So any number between 0 to 1 signifies that sigmoid has a capability of taking this z from any number between minus infinity to infinity between 0 to 1. That is the beauty of this sigmoid activation function. ReLU, on the other hand, takes this form max 0z, which is very similar to linear, but the linear takes care of the negative values also, but here the negative values are truncated to 0. So this is the main difference between ReLU and linear activation function. Okay. Uh, the common choice between in the hidden layer is generally ReLU, because ReLU is faster to compute as compared to the sigmoid. As you are aware, side by side, I want the power of the neural network, but I am also aware of the fact that the calculation should not be that much like can say computer intensive. So this 1 upon 1 plus e ki power minus that is very slower to compute. On the other hand, for the faster learning, generally people use ReLU, consider ReLU to be the popular choice for the hidden layer. For the hidden layer, we use ReLU. On the other hand, at the output layer, what is the best choice? The best choice is always a sigmoid for the 2 class classification. For the regression, we take linear activation function or ReLU activation function, because if I want the number between plus and minus, plus also and minus also, then we go for linear activation function or ReLU. As I can give you an example. For example, regression, as you all know, that is supervised learning. And if I'm talking about house price prediction, so the house price cannot be negative. So therefore, ReLU would be the best choice for the output layer also, if I'm doing the regression. On the other hand, the popularly when the neural network is popularly used for classification, so there a popular choice for a two class classification is sigmoid. But it doesn't mean that I cannot do the multi-class classification. For the multi-class classification, there is a very popular activation function which will come later in this slide. It's called softmax. I'll talk about it in the subsequent slides. So this is something at the hidden layer. The most common choice has become ReLU. For the output layer, if you are doing the classification, then the sigmoid is a very popular choice in community. Okay. As I already mentioned, that I would like to take you to the multi-class classification. So earlier, I took only two kind of handwritten digits, 0 or 1. That was only for binary classification, that is two class classification. But here I would like to take you to the 10 class classification. So this is first class, and then of course ninth class is the 10th class. So here 0 to 9 has 10 number of digits. Say you have an image 8 cross 8 है ना, of any digit, and I want to I know the actual class is 7. I need a mechanism using neural network that it understands this 7 and later helps me to predict the number 7 for me, and this 7 if matches with the actual value, as I told you, this y hat, if the y hat would be also 7 and this matches with actual 7, then I would say that that neural network is doing good. Okay. On the other hand, if the 7 and it says 7, but the my prediction says 1. Huh? Why I'm talking about 1? Because 1 looks very similar to 7. I'm not calling it as like say 8, or it's not getting confused between 8 and 7 because 8 is very, very dissimilar as compared to 7. But the digits to which it is more similar is like 7, 4, 1, and so on in handwritten. So if it does mistakes like misclassifications, then I would say my neural network is not working fine. Okay, so we would like to improve. So this is what we call as multi-class classification. But as I said, for two-class classification, sigmoid was a popular choice. But for a multi-class classification, we would be going towards another activation function, which is here the softmax activation function. Softmax activation function. Now, generally people call it as an activation function, but we in community of neural network, we call it as softmax regression also. Why? I'll now make it more clear by this particular diagram. Now, this diagram has one typo here. This X is corresponding to the class 1, but here in the diagram it is written as class 2, but that doesn't matter. How many classes we have? We have four classes: y is equal to 1, y equal to 2, y equal to 3, and y equal to 4. What I am writing here, the probability of uh, giving it to, or I can say assigning a class 1 to based on the feature set X is when I see the circle of this kind and I see X1 and X2 taking these values. X1 is also lower, X2 is also lower, so I call it as class equal to y equal to 1. When the X1 is lower but X2 is higher, then I call it as say y equal to 2, the class 2. This different shapes signifies the predetermined classes. That doesn't signify that okay, any shape I am determining, I'm just determining based on this x1 and x2, I want to assign them a class. So there are four classes. As you see, the softmax regression says that I will take from the previous uh, what I can say, from the previous layer, I'm getting some sort of input w1 into x plus b1. But I take that particular input and I map it to a1, a2, a3, a4. Here, how many classes we have? We have four classes. So this a1, a2, a3, a4 will be how many? Four. This a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a4. The whatever value I will be getting for each a1, a2, a3, a4, this should sum up to 1. Why? Because as you see, A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4, this A1 now, due to the softmax regression, it will be having a capability to give some values between what? Between 0 to 1. Why? Because it is being normalized by e to the power z1 plus e to the power z2 and then so on. What is this signifying? On the numerator side, I am taking the contribution of the class to which I want to find the activation for. But on the denominator side, I am taking the contribution of all the activation of the all the other classes also. So here If the numbers are between 0 to 1, all numbers sum 0.3, 0.2. When you sum up them, you get 1, sum up to 1. So, how this helps to define a cross entropy loss? I will talk about it in the very simple manner. How is the loss computed? For example, if I have three classes, say 0, 1, and 2, say, okay, and the true label the of the instance which I am trying to what I can say predict for, the actual label is y equal to 2. Out of this three classes, the true label is 2. Okay. Now, the first case, if the neural network predicts correctly by yielding y hat. What is y hat? Y hat is the probability, and for each particular class, say how many classes we have? Three classes. So vector contains three numbers, 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.7. Point to be noted, again, I will repeat that they sum to 1 because uh, it's going to be one of the event. Now, you see, the actual class was also y equal to 2, and the predicted class by the higher probability also says that y equal to 2. So say at this particular time, the loss should be computed, should get a lesser value as compared to when the neural network predict it incorrectly. Say here, the actual class was y equal to 2, expected to be y equal to 2, but it is trying to give it y equal to y hat is to be 0. Then the loss means anything which can penalize our later decisions can be loss. So loss says not in the right. Case one says I'm in the right, but case two says I'm not in the right. So you can see how this cross entropy loss contributes here. Minus log of p y equal to 2. What is y equal to 2? What is this? The probability 0.7. So it gives me 0.357. But on the other hand, y equal to 2, the probability is getting 0.1 value. Therefore, the it has more penalty and loss is increasing, which signifies that my neural network needs to improve. It needs improvement. Okay. So this is the crux of this cross entropy loss, which I was mentioning here. How this loss computes? This loss is computed as minus of log whatever class I want to give. And this particular figure signifies that whatever value of the loss would be, if the actual class is also J and my predictor is also predicting the J, then I'm in the right, the loss should be less here. If the actual class was y equal to j, but my predictor says that y equal to say I, any other class, then the loss should be at the higher side. This particular activation function is not activation function. This loss is inspired from the of fact that loss should be more when the class is not matching with the true class. But as you see, when you want to do the three class classification, how many classification? How many? We have 10 classes for the digit classification. So same X goes here and the output has how many units? Now 10 units. So you see at the activation layer, I'm now using softmax. On the hidden layer as decided, which is a common choice, I have chosen now ReLU. And later, the get for the loss, I'm using a special function called sparse categorical cross entropy, which is nothing but similar to what we have seen in the previous slide. This is nothing but sparse cross entropy loss. Okay. Now I'll take you to the uh, reverse process of, I can say, whenever I do the learning in any sort of machine learning, we have a concept called descent. Gradient descent. Now, what is gradient descent? It says what? That At every point, I need to update my weights according to this formula, that this is the new weights and these are the old weights minus alpha. What is alpha? Alpha in neural network is also known as, or any other, like when you say linear regression, logistic regression, there also the gradient descent comes. This is also known as, it is known as learning rate. And after that, the partial derivative of the loss, which is cost also, cost or loss is one of the, go hand in hand. J denotes the cost upon dou, the partial derivative with respect to the wj. Similarly, b need to be updated. What is b? B is the other parameter. B need to be updated with the same, but now the denominator will have this. So this is common rules for updating the weights. On the same principle, your neural network also works. Okay. Here, when I saw any neural network, I'll talk about it. Yeah. So when I took you to this neural network, the forward part, when I take this route from here to here, this is called forward part. But after computing the loss at the output layer, loss here, I would like to revisit and go back to check what, if the loss is higher, what wrong did I do? What weights? How should I decide on the weights, or update the weights based on a strategy called backward propagation? So the, this when I take this route from left to right, it is known as forward propagation. And when I take the reverse part, means after computing the loss, I get to know that the loss is increasing. So what bad I did, I would like to reinvestigate and I would like to update my weights, which is connecting this X to this to that, this to that, everything. This is known as your updating the weights, and the scenario is called the backward propagation. So I'm going to take you to the backward propagation here. And for making it simple, I'd like to take three inputs only. So for example, x1, x2, and x3, just to make it simple so that we can understand it clearly. At the and I'm only assuming one hidden layer to for the time being, only one hidden layer, first hidden layer. Okay. And another simplicity which I want to bring here is the one neuron, means I am doing the two class classification only, and I'm using the sigmoid activation function at the output layer to make it simple. And at the hidden layer, I'm using the ReLU. For your information, the parameters for the first layer are known as, are can be denoted as W1 and B1. For the output layer, this weight would be W2 and B2. And the loss at the output, so this loss, or I can call later as when I actually take the mean across all the uh, instances, then this loss is replaced by a J. What is J? J is cost. कई बार हम इसे लॉस कह देते हैं, कई बार इसे कॉस्ट कह देते हैं, बट व्हेन आई एम टेक स्पेसिफिकली लॉस, लॉस इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ वन instance only. I'm talking about, I just want to check for one instance how it is performing. So to to make it comfortable, I would like to say that X and W1 and B1 connects and they all together gives me some sort of output. I would like to bring zoom it. This is Z1 is equal to W1 X plus B1. When I use any activation function, say here, this is, I decided this is a ReLU activation function. So this ReLU activation function takes the Z1 and give me A1. When this A1 goes later and go using the forward propagation, this W2 and B2 will become the parameter of my second layer, which is known as the output layer. And at the output layer, I compute Z2 is equal to W2 into A1. As we decided, it was WL dot product A of L minus 1. So similarly, so for W2, so W2, so Z2, it would be equal to Z2 would be equal to W2, and it would be 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1 plus B2. So that formula goes like this. And now I would like to take you to the right. A2 is computed here. A2 is computed via this, and this activation function I have chosen as sigmoid. And here the loss is computed, and this loss is known as binary cross entropy. Why do I call this as binary cross entropy? Because as we have already mentioned, this is for two class classification, and binary means two. So here it's very easy. If I have y, the actual class was equal to, let's say, 1, then I'll be putting this y equal to 1 value here, then the formula becomes minus uh, y की value हमने क्या ले ली 1, then it becomes log of a2 plus 1 minus 1 would become 0. So this quantity for the positive class will become nullified. On for the negative class, say y equal to 0, the first part will become nullified and this part will become active. So 1 minus 0 minus log of this one would be 1 minus 0 log of 1 minus a2. So the formula is very simple, and this is what we call it as binary cross entropy loss. Okay, and this is one scenario which we are creating, and I'm taking this scenario further. The same thing, of course, the three inputs x1, x2, x3 will go further. As we decided, the z1 will become what? The proposed, this will w1 into x1 plus b1. And since it was ReLU activated, I used ReLU, and you know ReLU is max of 0 comma z1, as we have decided, or we have mentioned in the previous slides. Output layer, we have sigmoid activation function. The output layer uses the sigmoid activation function. Sigmoid activation function, we denote this using sigma also, and you know this is 1 plus e to the power minus z2. And what is z2? Z2 is the here, and if I call it as 1 plus e to the power minus x, this x is nothing but my z2. Okay, then the forward propagation, now after forward propagation, we compute the loss function, as I said already, binary cross entropy, and this is the calculation. Now if the loss is not up to the mark, means the loss is not optimized yet, means has not got to nearby 0 or 0, so the backward propagation will start working. What it does, it tries to find out the gradients. And what are those gradients? Majorly, what we would like to update the W2, B2, W1, and B1. In this neural network, these things need to be updated. As I said, the gradient descent method uses partial derivative of L. What is L? The loss with respect to W2 also. I need to compute this. I need to compute another derivative which is called the partial derivative of L with respect to B2. I also need to compute partial derivative of L divided by uh, the W1. And last but not the least is I also want to compute the loss function with respect to so the loss partial derivative of loss with respect to B B1, which will contribute to find the or update the old W with the new W. As I said already, WL is equal to W old, the old W minus alpha dou L divided by dou WL. So the partial derivative. So this need to be computed, that to be computed, all those things need to be computed for this neural network. As stated on the right hand side, to compute these quantities, this is not direct. We need to go in sequence. Now, what is that sequence? We, for computing this, the derivative of L with respect to derivative of with respect to W2, we need to use some rule of differentiation, which is known as uh, chain rule. What is this chain rule? I wanted this quantity, the L upon this one. But here, if you see the root of L in the backward direction, L is being determined using A2. A2 is being determined by Z2. Z2 is determined by A1 and then so on. So here, if I want to reach to this W2, which is here, I would like to take a root. I would like to take L. L is being determined directly by A2. So I take a chain rule and I say the partial derivative of L divided by partial derivative of the A2 multiplied by or multiplied by the A2 is being determined by Z2. So A2 and Z2. And then Z2 is being determined by A1. But A1, I have a quantity called this W2. I'll be just talking about it, this thing in the subsequent slide. This, when you talk about A2, the Z2 is having one quantity of A1 here. And Z2 is using the quantity A1. Fine. So now, when I take these three values one by one, I'll be computing each value for you. Dou L by dou, the partial derivative of L divided by partial derivative of A2 will be calculated using the formula. The partial derivative of this and this would be calculated by this. Now, what is this? When I take the derivative of log of A2, because I'm taking the derivative, partial derivative with respect to A2. This A2, when take the log, the derivative of log is 1 upon, so when I say it is equal to 1 by x. So I'm making use of this. This log quantity will become minus y. Y is the constant value. So y divided by a2 minus 1 minus y is again a constant value. 1 minus y again will come like this. And this log quantity will come here. But one more thing I would like to add here is this minus will contribute one minus here also. Like let's say this one. So when this minus minus will become this, so this internal minus is going to come using this particular value. But I would like to take you also here, when I saw this, the other quantity was the partial derivative of the activation function with respect to partial derivative of Z2. You see here this value for the activation function, which is sigmoid in this case, when got derivated, means the derivative is found. This is the derivation which I am leaving it for the readers, the audience to understand. What is this? This is the shortcut method which we have used out here. The sigmoid, when got what I can say differentiated with respect to Z2, the answer is A2 1 minus A2. When I make use of all these quantities in this particular um, I can say formula, I also need those the partial derivative of Z2 with respect to partial derivative of W2. When you see Z2 W2, when the W2 is the thing with which I am I'm finding the derivative of, then A1 would be the constant for me. So this is going to be the derivative of that particular quantity. But altogether, as you all remember, this the partial derivative of L upon partial derivative of this has come like this. I'll just take you to the previous slide, this one. I'll just copy it, A2 minus 1 minus y divided by 1 minus, I'll just copy 1 minus A2. And when I take this, and what is this? This is A2 multiplied by 1 minus A2. Also, it is also getting multiplied by A1. All thing together, you will find this internal quantity to be A2 minus y. I can just show you the computation. Since this is getting clumsy here, I will just show you separately. So I'll take you y upon A2 minus 1 minus y upon 1 minus A2 multiplied by A2 into 1 minus A2 multiplied by A1. And this multiplication is like somewhat it's a dot product some because all things are vector. I'm just making it simple here, just like a mathematics. So A2 and A2 minus. So when I just do this small computation for you, it will become minus, it will become A2 multiplied by 1 minus A2 as an LCM. It will then after that y 1 minus A2 minus 1 minus y A2. When you will multiply, so you see this quantity and this quantity, and yeah, this and this is going to be cancelled. And when I further simplify it, it will simply become A2 minus y internally and A1. So I'll just take you to this my slide. Same thing यहाँ पर. So the answer has come where it is. I'll just show you. Yep, here. So the answer is this. So the partial derivative of L with respect to W2 is delta 2 into A1 transpose. Transpose is just a placeholder of because transform is used because this quantity will have some dimension, and that dimension has to match. If I want to do the dot product, it should match. So sometimes if the dimension doesn't match, then I need to take the transpose. So that is just a placeholder here. If even if you just forget about it, this particular part need to be highlighted. And here, what is delta 2? This delta 2 is nothing but this part, only that part. So what is this part? This part we have already computed. This is A2 minus y. A2 minus y dot product A1 is the answer for partial derivative of L with respect to the with respect to the W2. Similarly, if I want to compute the partial derivative of L with respect to the B2, say, now B2 has only delta 2. I would like to get the reason here. When I do the partial derivative of Z2 with respect to beta 2, B2, then you see this here while differentiating with respect to W2, there was a constant A1 which was contributing to the answer. But here, when I differentiate with respect to B2, this whole quantity is constant for me. The only quantity which I am here having is B2. But when I am differentiating with respect to B2, there is no constant, only one is there. So here it is one. That's why I have written the partial derivative of L with respect the partial derivative of B2 is delta 2. And that actually gives the answer that if I want to do the backward propagation for this thing, for the first layer, the second layer, then I have the partial derivative as to be like a2 minus y multiplied by a1, and the partial derivative of b2 will be calculated as a2 minus y only. Now, just imagine when I took the help of the gradient descent. The gradient descent says WL is equal to WL minus. Now L मैं यहाँ पे ले ही लेता हूँ. This is W2. This is also W2 and minus alpha, the partial derivative of L with respect to the W2. Now see, this quantity we already found. What is that quantity? अभी लिख देते हैं. W2 would be equal to W2 minus alpha. Alpha is just a constant. It's a learning rate between 0 to 1 we can take. And this value we have got now to be A2 minus Y into A1. So we got a way of updating the weights for, say, when I do the backward propagation, this W2 is being updated via this quantity. ये जो multiplication alpha multiplied by A2 minus Y into A1. Now, what is A2? A2 is the answer which we are the between 0 to 1 कोई भी probability हमारी जो आएगी वो उसको हम compare करेंगे with the actual value. What is that actual value? For example, it is 1 and this is, say, also it is 1, it is 0. So 0 and 1, there is a huge difference. So this is contributing to updating these weights according to this particular formula. Similarly, B2 is calculated as or computed as B2 minus alpha into A2 minus Y. Only this much because there was no A1 quantity there. So this B2, we got the strategy of updating weights and biases and only bias for the second layer. What is the second layer? Output layer. But for the first layer, the way is same, somewhat tricky, but of course, in the interest of time, I'd like to switch it to the audience for any question if they have. And later, if I'll get time, maybe if I can just go through to that also. But before I proceed, I'd like to take some questions from if there are any. I request the organizers if they can just bring some questions from the chat box if we have any question.
Yes, sir. I think there are not much questions in the chat box, but we can
Okay.
ask the participants.
Are they allowed to speak?
Yes, yes. The house is
Okay,
now open
okay.
for questions and
Please,
queries.
please.
Participants,
Yeah.
please feel free to share your questions. You can unmute directly, or you can also write it in the chat box, whichever way you're comfortable.
I'm open to your questions. Please.
Please feel free to ask your queries.
So I can see a lot of participants here, and then I would like to congratulate the organizers for the same. I would really admire if, of course, I can get at least some sort of indication from the audience that yes, this forward propagation and backward propagation, this part is somewhat clear. Of course, when I talk things in 1.5 hours, of course, that brings lot of insights and one may have to revise those concepts later, but I would really admire if anyone can just speak any question or maybe any sort of feedback. I'd
Sir,
love to.
hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Sir, this is
Dr. Kalpana.
Dr. Kalpana.
Yes,
Actually, a very good explanation, sir.
thank
What is
you.
the why more advantage in back propagation than forward propagation?
There is the whenever I talk about any neural network, hmm, it is made up of three things. Say the first thing is the forward propagation. I will just call it as FP for the timing. So the forward propagation takes me from the left to right, and of course using these weights and the biases to reach to the final output. But this final output, as we also learn from mistakes. For example, whenever we do anything new, right, any in our life also, when we are child, we are asked to classify between one object to another, right? So if we do mistake, we are asked to improve. So similarly, in the same scenario, when we take the same analogy to A2, this A2 is nothing but the output, the predicted one. If this predicted output is near to, or I can say it is closer to the actual output, then we are doing in the right. We are in the right. But if we are not, then we need to revise our learning. And revising our learning means we need to use backward propagation. So this backward propagation in every iteration is helping me to improve my assumptions of this W and D. And later, when this backward propagation, one iteration deals with forward propagation, backward propagation, and in between we do the loss calculation. So the one after one iteration, if the loss again needs any improvement, then we need another iteration, and again the forward propagation will happen, then backward propagation, and so on. So this strategy actually brings improvement in the neural network, improvement in the prediction. That is what we are having in this particular session, right? Thank you for
Uh,
asking. Is
Sir,
did I
actually,
did it
both
solve?
in both forward propagation as well as backward propagation to be carried out in the neural network, right, sir?
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Thank
Both
you
are
so much,
very, very
sir.
important. Yes, tool.
You clearly explained that thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Are there
Hello,
any more
sir.
questions?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, one question from my side, that what
Yes,
will be the thresholding point uh, through which we will be doing the forward propagation and then backward propagation so that the outcome will be the optimal, and
yes.
the what are the predictions at what will be the stagnant point where we can say that this is the final prediction, sir. Thank you.
Very nice question, sir. Very nice question. So for this thing, sir, what we do actually, we for a two class classification problem, we create one matrix. So here I take on the left side, I take actual, and on the right hand side, I take the predicted. I take one example, say, uh, if the person had, so I'm talking about non-COVID or COVID, chest X-ray के basis पे, I'm just taking COVID and non-COVID.
So this is
So
just like false negative and that.
yeah. I'm just going to talk about it. You
Okay.
already took that point. So here the non-COVID and then COVID. So say the person was non-COVID and he has been predicted also as non-COVID, then I can say it is true negative. Okay? And if the person was COVID and he has been predicted also as COVID, then it is true positive. You already pointed out that particular thing. But if the person was non-COVID, but my predictor or the neural network is saying that it is COVID, so it is what? False positive. And on the other hand, of course, only one thing is left is false negative. What we want to minimize these two quantities, false positive and false negative. For
These
the
are
COVID case,
actually errors, na sir?
errors, yes. And for COVID case, false negative is the basic thing which I would like to, of course, remove. Why? Because if the person was infected with COVID, and but we say that he has no COVID, then COVID being an infectious, sorry, contagious disease, it is going to be a problem, right? So for many problems, FP and FN need to be minimized. So what thing I would like to say that when so thresholding, as you said, is loss. We will not wait for loss to become zero, but for every iteration, say I1, I2, I3, I4, and say 1,000 iteration I bring, right? I expect that after 1,000 iteration, my answer will become stabilized. But I can stop in between also. Say at the 701 and 702 iteration, the loss is not changing at all or changing at a fourth decimal places, that the threshold can be defined as 10 to the power minus 3. That if it is not changing between two iterations, I can do the early stopping also.
So I think, sir, this is
Yeah.
just like what one subject we learned earlier, we taught
Yes.
earlier, numerical
Yeah.
methods like
Yes. Yes.
Gaussian,
Yes.
till four decimal places, till five decimal places, we have to find the peculiar solution, right, sir?
Exactly, exactly. So we have to give some threshold. You have pointed out a very, very important thing that for each iteration, either we decide that it has to go till 1,000 iteration, but there is no guarantee that after 1,000 iteration, I'm going to get the optimum. So I can take it to the 2,000 dimensions, 2,000 iterations also, but there is a limit because our system is slow, of course. Our system doesn't have that much RAM. So we need to check our limitations of our system also. If our system is not capable enough to address to work on that particular number of iteration, then we need to stop somewhere. That is something which we'll have. Okay.
Great, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so
Nicely
much. My
explained,
pleasure.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more queries? All right. May I now request everyone to kindly switch on your cameras for a quick photograph before we conclude. Hope it's done. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ankit sir, for such an insightful and enriching session on deep dive into deep neural networks. Your
Thank you so
explanations on
much.
demand prediction, face and digit recognition, activation functions, and the working of neural networks through forward and backward propagation truly deepened our understanding of AI in action. So, on behalf of Guru Nanak Institute of Management, we extend heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for sharing your expertise and valuable time with us.
My
As,
pleasure. My pleasure.
as the saying goes, artificial intelligence is not about machines replacing humans, it's about machines learning to think and humans learning to imagine. So, it's a pleasure to present you with a virtual memento as a token of
Thank you.
gratitude.
So sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, sir. I now invite Dr. Shipra to kindly take over and introduce the second speaker of the day.
Thank you, Ravleen ma'am.
Dr. Archana ma'am.
I think the speaker is here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Yes. Yeah. I, Dr. Archana Deshpande, on behalf of GNIM, welcome you all and today's speaker, Mr. Abhijit Kalsi, for day 3, session 2 of Faculty Development Program on cutting edge AI techniques for teaching and research. Today's session expert is Mr. Abhijit Kalsi. Mr. Abhijit Kalsi is an accomplished Drupal architect with over 15 years of extensive experience in web development, architecture design, and enterprise level digital transformation. He possesses strong expertise in Drupal 7, 8, 9, and 10, leading end to end implementation of high performance, secure, and scalable web applications for global clients. Throughout his career, Mr. Abhijit has demonstrated excellence in system architecture, module development, migration performance optimization, and DevOps integration. He has successfully led diverse teams, collaborated with cross functional stakeholders, and implemented best practices in CI oblique CD, agile methodology, and cloud deployment using AWS and Azure environments. His work reflects a deep commitment to innovation, user centric design, and continuous learning. Mr. Abhijit's proficiency extends beyond Drupal to include PHP, Symfony, React, and RESTful API integration, enabling him to deliver seamless digital experiences. As a certified professional and thought leader, he has contributed to open source communities and guided organizations in modernizing legacy systems while ensuring maintainability and efficiency. Mr. Abhijit Kalsi is a results driven technologist who blends strategic vision with hands on technical acumen to deliver impactful, future ready digital solutions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I wish you good evening today. Okay, so the topic, thank you, Archana, ma'am, for explaining all this for me. Thank you very much. You already explained me about myself. You already aware of me, many of you, as I am the like student of the same college. So I have learned many things from this college, and this is the starting career point. So I can never forget you all, my respected teachers. And today, the plan for today is a GitHub Copilot, which is we can use for our day-to-day programming activities. So I'm going to represent my screen. We'll start with the this program. Let me share my screen, please. Yeah, let me know once I can see my screen. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone, so the topic is the GitHub Copilot. I hope you all, like many of you, already aware of this GitHub Copilot program, which is one of the, you can say, certified and by all the organization in the IT sector, through which we can generate a new code for any of the language whatsoever we are working into it. This is certified by Microsoft and certified by all big tech companies to be used in their project, which has all security compliance and which works with the company standards, and it makes sure the code whatsoever we are going to write in it, it will not going outside it. It make as you know, like we are using this a tool somewhere in code, so there might be a risk of moving our data from like our personal client data or our own code which is written for our client, which we don't want to move outside to the world because we spend lots of hours on it and it's a company confidential data. So this is the tool which we're using which makes sure it will not hampers any of the personalized code outside to the public network. Starting with a few details of myself, as already ma'am explained me. So my name is Abhijit Singh Kalsi. I am around 14.5 year experience, all in Drupal and DevOps section. I am certified in Drupal certification, which is powered by Acquia, who has developed this technology. So there, I certified in two of the version, Drupal 10 and the Drupal 11 version. Both are the external exams, which I cleared this year. And one of the important part, like this certification, like I am the only one in my organization who complete the certification on India side, not globally, but on India side, of the first person to complete this version. But there are many people after me. I also certified in the GitHub Copilot training on which we are working on it. So this is also I have a certification. So I can give you my best to explain this feature. And currently, I'm working as an architect in Capgemini and handling various different projects for Drupal as well as the DevOps. And of even apart from my usual work in my Capgemini, I used to contribute in the different open source technologies. I have some various module which you can say contribute back to an open source network so that other people can use it freely. Even inside our company, we have a program to share our code base. We call it an asset management store, where we share the findings and good works which can be reused in another project in order to save that time. So I contributed at that level as well. Apart from Drupal, I work as a DevOps professional where I have to manage all different environments related to AWS, Acquia Cloud for managing the infra and to optimize everything and to see the site should be secure and optimized to the best extent as per the market standards. Also, I'm the certified architect from the Capgemini side, aspiring architect program. So, let's pretty much update from my side. This is a glimpse of the certification which I did this year. That's a Microsoft certified program, especially meant for GitHub Copilot. I cleared this one, and this is, you can say, it has expiration date of 2 years. Like after every 2 years, we need to re-give this exam. As you know, like technology is evolving every month, every week. So after the 2 years, might be chance like there are lots of new things come into the AI world. So the whatever learnings we did today might not be sufficient after some years. So we need to keep on learning these technologies. You can verify my certificates if you want. It's a globally available on Microsoft portal. So we'll start with our GitHub Copilot part. So before I start, it's not just a theoretical presentation. I will go through some examples with the live tool, how we can use it with our Visual Studio Code. But before that, we'll start with some basics and we'll gradually move to the topics. Okay, as you know, like GitHub Copilot is like a AI-powered coding assistant tool which is developed by GitHub. Initially, it was developed by GitHub, and somehow at some later state, Microsoft has, you can say, take up around 49% of share in GitHub Copilot, and they acquired that company. Now it become Microsoft GitHub Copilot, while it was independently developed by GitHub organization. And this again, this GitHub Copilot works on same Chat GPT tool which you and we are using in our day-to-day life. It was using the chatbot, the Chat GPT 3.0 version initially. I think now Chat GPT 4.0 is also available in the GitHub Copilot as an in the license version. And we can also have the latest version of ChatGPT 5 into Copilot, but again, the license is pretty much expensive to use it. In my machine, I have GitHub ChatGPT 3.0 license. It's a license tool which we get from our organization, and even we can take it freely from the community, but it has some limitations to it on the use. You can also, if you want, you can create account in the GitHub Copilot and start using it. Right now, the GitHub Copilot has an extension which we can use on different, you can say, different IDs. So Visual Studio Code is the most of the common IDs which we are using day to day, but it's also possible to use in a JetBeans ID and Nevium. JetBeans and the Visual Code are the two most important one through which this Copilot extension can be integrated very easily, and we can use it uh, throughout our code development lifecycle. So what actually GitHub Copilot do? It has like few components which it can be do to leverage our development to some next level. It has the possibility of code auto completion. That means if I write some code, if I start writing some piece of lines of code, it will keep on suggesting me the next possible outcome for my code. So it has that kind of a capability. I will show you in the next coming slides. It has a context aware helpfulness where, for example, I write something like write a code for me in for a particular sorting for any search. So it once you write a few words, it will keep on giving you, well, based on your context, what you are asking. Maybe your spelling is not correct, your the punctuations are not correct, grammar are not contact or not correct. Sorry. So, but it's not like that. It will not understand it. It will try to understand the user context, what he is trying to say, and based on that context, he will not he like the system will generate the respective code or suggest the respective code. And if we like, we can use it. If we not like it, we can reject that part. It's up to us. Learning coding style. So since this tool is also like keep on learning every year, it was like starting commercially in 2022, but no was like aware of Copilot. Gradually in 23, 24, it is gaining its popularity among peoples, and it was keeping updating itself. So how it's keep on updating? Like it's as a background is again the Chat GPT who keep on exploring all the public libraries, public code available on the internet, which has an open source language and open source technologies. So it's already like it's a powered by GitHub. GitHub is a kind of a repository tool where all our code repository based on any language can reside there. It's a repository server. It has two options. One is a public, which means it can be visible to anyone on entire globe, and one is a private, which is you only a user who has the rights to it can open. So GitHub Copilot like keep on learning from the all the public code repository, not the private one, and it keep on learning from them. So past when during its build cycle, they were keep on giving the Copilot all the repository to learn itself, all the code, and they come to know all of the common languages whatsoever like people are working on it. There are n number of libraries on all these languages we have. You can say Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, Go, C Sharp, Java, common languages which we are using in many industries. There are lots of n numbers of library availables which are available in the open source market. It keep on learning from them, and based on that learning, when we ask anything, it gives us suggestion based on its own learning. That's why it's called Chat GPT, generative pre-trained data. So it's a pre-trained data. Pre-trained data from where? From GitHub repository, public repository. It was like previously pre-trained. Even now it's keep on training itself. And based on all the learning, when we ask anything, within like few millisecond, it able to give us the output. And the last one, it support natural language processing, means uh, how we write a code and how machine understands the code, that's a different thing. Like the way of writing one statement in a different grammar can be different. But at the end, it will process that language into machine understanding a language, and through that we can able to generate our code or document or test whatsoever we want. So there are a couple of few features of this GitHub Copilot. Now we'll go to the prompt engineering part, which is the most important part for any AI tool. Okay, so here we can have, you can see in prompt engineering, we have always a single. It should be a specific, it should be a short, and it should be surrounded. Means when we write any questions to a copilot, we should make sure like the statement we should not write in a big paragraphs. It should be like in some small sentence in a one, two, or three lines, so that we will able to express what we are trying to say. It should not be like a big paragraph we are given to them. It should be specific to the point. Like if you want to write a code for certain search operation, some sort operation, or to specific program, you can mention that appropriate words for that to that topic. And the major interest, like we don't have to mix all topics together and then we ask. We don't have to ask to like I want to build this project and I need to include MySQL, I need to include the PHP and write me a code for it. It's like big sentence becomes. We have to give a small task, and that task, whatever our needs, our demand, we can write it carefully. And in a short sentence, we have to specify the words which we want to implement in that particular section of a code. So that's a very important part for any prompt when we write any question to an AI. This not only for the Copilot, it's for everywhere when we use any AI tool, whether it's a Chat GPT, Perplexity, or any other, which are lots of available in the market. And the last one is the surround, means it should contain all the relevant information what we need for that particular piece of information. We should not like expect like if we give half of the information and rest of the information the AI will calculate from its own. Now it will generate inform data based on the information what we provided. Okay, so we have the prompt types are available in the GitHub Copilot chat. It can be a direct question, means we can ask a directly question. We can ask code related request based on our languages. We can ask like or example like fix this code and explain this code snippet. We can means code specific we can say. We can also have open-ended queries where we can ask like what the best practice for writing this code. It's like open-ended, like we give some piece of code and we don't know what is the coding standard or best practice we need to include, but we can ask them implement the best practice for the code which we just written, or the code which I written, how I can improve it. I don't know how to improve it. So I give an open-ended question to improve, tell me something to improve the code, to optimize the code, or tell me something to improve at the security level. So open-ended question we can ask to them. And one is the like contextual prompt. Like where is a part of my like I give my piece of code, I ask to suggest the improvement, and I'm building some web application. You can help me with the authentication flow. So with the context also, it will keep on giving me the next possible answer. Okay. So in the prompt engineering, there are few op, short prompting available. We have one shot copilot. We have like a zero shot, one shot, few shot programming. One shot, like I give all information in one single piece of line, like write a function to check if a number is a prime. In one shot, I ask the LLM to give me to generate some piece of code. We have option of the sorry, this was a zero shot. This was a one shot in which I ask one question and I give one input to it. Like write a function to check if a number is a prime, and I give the input also as well. And few shot where I give multiple examples with my question. So what's the difference between all these shots? Like one is the like open question. I ask the question to write to like write a search program, to write any sorting program. And if I have a specific program and if I have some specific examples to give it so that the generated code becomes more, you can say, aligned to your requirement. So I can, if I am able to give more example, then it will be helpful for Copilot as well to give me more relevant code what based on our needs. But all is possible. What are we doing? If we don't, if we're not sure what we need to add, like we can manage it. We can like have in a zero shot as well. We just write everything in one line and we depend upon Copilot to give us the output. This was the example of the Copilot one, the one shot, few shot, and zero shot. You can interrupt me anywhere, whenever you feel you have any questions. Please feel free to ask any question whenever you want. Next important part is the natural language processing, which I talked initially, the NLP part, which is the most important one, which through which the language we spoke, the language, the way users spoke a language on a different region. US has a different style of writing or speaking. UK has a different. European region have a different way of uh, spelling anything. The pronunciation would be different. So, but at the end, Copilot will not understand all those language. At the end, it's a machine language through which it will able to understand what we want. So here, what's a it's a like what NLP help here in the Copilot, like it will has a code compilation based on the language. For example, we write in an English language. So here you can see in the example of Philo, I write something. I start with some loop. I start for int I equals to 0, and then whatever part in the green section, you will see it is coming as a suggestion from a Copilot. I'm not giving it. Means it based on the natural language model. It will generate the next possible code. It's up to me. I can like accept it or reject it. Option will come. Through the tab we can accept, and if we can reject, we can click on escape button, or by simply clicking on these two buttons. It'll be totally based, but it whenever we write a code, it keep on as telling us the next possible value. Next, we have the natural language to code one. Means now I write a statement in normal English language like function to reverse a string. Then based on my language, it will give me the code. So through a natural language, the respective code get automatic suggested. And again, it follows the semantic parsing as well. Semantic parsing means when we write like in English language, when we use all the punctuation grammar like functions to reverse a and this a and two, it will like omit all this one. It will focus on function that is reverse a string. So it will focus on these words. Rest of the tokens which we pass will get ignored. Third example of a code explanation where our code will convert into natural programming. So for example, I have some piece of code. I want to have the some explanation how what the code actually means. So code is in machine language, in particular language that's in PHP or in the C Sharp or in Java. But I need to convert into some description, human readable description, so that I can understand. I'm new to this project. I don't know what the code is doing. So with the suggestion, I will come to know what the purpose of that code. So through this, my code will convert into a natural language. And it will, the fourth one is again, it will do a code translation, natural language plus code as well. Convert this PHP program into JavaScript. So this one example I put. So in this, it will do two topics, like it will read my English sentence, which is in natural language, and I give one piece of code, two inputs I given to AI. Then I ask it to generate in another language. I was currently working on a PHP version. My file name is PHP, but asking me to generate a similar code in Java or any C# language. So now the Copilot has to do a two task for natural language to convert into its appropriate code, plus also conversion of the code. Two things he has to do. So this is all like helpful based on the NLP only, natural language programming. Without it, it will be very difficult for us to talk to any AI tool and to get the relevant information what we want. Otherwise, we are not able to like get the data from the AI. And that's the beauty of AI itself. Like from many years, we have lots of trillions of data available in different data center, but that data is not useful for a common man like you and us unless any system will able to convert those things. When the AI comes, when this chat GPT comes, then only this become possible for us to talk to that big trillions of data and get a relevant information based on our need. Otherwise, without this NLP, it will be very difficult. Not sure how it will work to communicate with the information and to get the relevant information. If today someone asks me to give me a library which has, let's say, 50 files or 100 files of it, I need to understand and then I have to implement in the project. It will take lots of days for me to just to understand and to give an overview idea how to integrate it. But with the help of this AI tool, I can do it in few hours to complete my documentation on the explanation part. Okay, so before going forward, let's show you some examples in the tool so that it will be helpful in the session. Okay, so I have already opened. This is a Visual Studio I have on my desktop. On my laptop, I already installed this Visual Studio. And in this Visual Studio, we have the Copilot integration coming from GitHub. It's a free version tool as well as a licensed version. I'm using a licensed version, but we can use a free version as well. So first we need to have do a sign up, which is a very easy process. You guys can see on the GitHub Copilot website to see how to install it. It's very simple to do it. Once you install in this any of your one, you can see with your username on the GitHub uh, community, the same user you were able to log in. And once you logged in, you will get this feature of the open chat, where whatever you want, you can type it here. And we have inline chat as well. So inline chat is like more useful. So I will show you some example. Remove all this. I will start with some fresh code. Okay, so I just create one PHP file and start with the PHP one, PHP basic tags. Now I can ask something to the my Copilot to create or generate something for me. So for that, it's a very simple one. We can open one inline chat. The shortcut is like Control I. So you can see this option will come where I can ask anything to Copilot to write some code or some test or some document for me in the file which is currently open. For that, we have some options available. I have to type this forward slash, then this option will come. There's some predefined tags already created in this program, in this tool. For an is a doc, means to create a documentation. We have edit to edit any piece of code. Explain, where I can select some piece of code and give me some explanation. Fix it means I write my code, but that is not working as per my requirements. So it will rewrite it, refactor it, or do changes into it uh, based on the need. Generate is to simply generate the code, and last is for the test to create a test cases. So first one, the most common one we use is generate. So for a, I will put an example like uh, write write a program for very simple one, your know, bubble sort. Very common example. I just write it and will click on enter. So you can see it's keep on thinking it. Might not take time due to some network problem, but it is like very fast to give the output. So here it suggests me and bubble sort program automatically comes with a function tag all name with some input parameters, the complete code of a bubble sort, I write it, and in the bottom, we call this function. I did not write any piece of line. I'm new to programming. Let's say I'm fresher. I don't know about all this, how to write a bubble sort code. I just write my prompt, which is you can say a zero prompt. I'll give just one piece of sentence to give me a code, and he just gave me the example. I have two options, like either I can accept it or I can close, means rejected. So for example, I will accept this one. So now that piece of code is now embedded in my current file in which I'm working on it. I need to just simply save it. Now in terms of code, it is look good, but you can see there is no commenting at all, no document at all. So again, in terms of the best practice, the code is again not complete. So what options we can do? We need to write some commenting on it. We need to generate some doc. So there are multiple ways of writing it. Either see this example, you're gonna come. I just click enter before function. Now it will give me some suggestion. I didn't write anything. So based on my context of a code on which I'm writing, he suggests me some the documentation of its own. I didn't type anything. I even didn't give any prompt. But this is like you can get autocomplete feature of a Copilot. Based on the context of a file, it will keep on generating code and generating comment. And if you want to accept it, I will click on this tab. It will come and enter. It will close it, and it's still giving me further one, but I can want to close it. I will close it here. But if you don't uh, like this one, and if I ask the Copilot to generate a proper documentation for this, there are two ways. Either I will open that same chat, inline chat, where I can uh, click forward slash and click on this talk, where I need to give example uh, like write the documentation for bubble sort. I will click on enter. So taking a little time as of now, but might be I'm sharing on Zoom meeting, might be for that. So you can see it will keep on generating the documentation. with the complete details, everything, characteristic, parameters, with some example, like complete documentation of my code, it is provided. If someone asks me before this AI tool, if someone asks me to write this code, I will spend like 1 hour on this. But with this Copilot, it gives me in few milliseconds only. So for any developer, for any person, it become very helpful tool. So normally, if we like calculate in terms of productivity in organization, so between 10 to 20% right now, it is helping us. Somewhere between 10 to 20%, it will help us to increase our productivity. For example, if some jobs take 10-hour continuous work of development, with this tool, the same task I can complete in 8 hours, 9 hours, somewhere in between it. And even it will be more as we'll keep on using it. The only challenge is like we are not much familiar and we're not much using it as of now. But as you're moving more learning into it, more using day by day in our day-to-day project, day-to-day task, we will get like expertise in this and we'll use it to a next level. And whatsoever time we saved in this one, we can like do something differently on that application in terms of solutioning part. So that's the beauty of this one. This is one example of a document creation. Another way, like I don't even right now, I was writing a bubble sort program. So I asked write a document for a bubble sort. But for example, I don't know what the code is doing, or I can't explain it in like 1 or 2 lines. It's difficult for me. So then again, an option for it, I will select my piece of code, will right click it, then this generate code will, you can see option will come. Option is coming to fix the code problem, review it, generate doc and generate test. So if I click on generate doc based on my selected code, so now you can see it gave me a very nice documentation for the function which I selected. So it gave me complete the array inputs, the return parameter, the examples, and with some initial description. It gave me in a very nice way. I need to just accept it. So the previous example is to write the documentation of a file. So that document create a complete document which we write at the top of a file, which explain complete file. And here the example is for a document for a particular function. We have n number function, might be in same file, we can have 10 function. So then 10 function will have 10 different document. So with that, we can write whatever we want. So this is another one. Yes, now I write my code, I write my documentation. Now next step what I can do, I need to do some unit testing. I need to write some test case whether my code is like the code which I written is appropriate or not, or the parameters, the input parameters or the valid inputs which should be executed, it work with it. So again, there are multiple option. Either I can open that same in the inline chat with pressing Control I. I will click / and click on test. See some basic prompt already come, generate unit test for a selected code. So either I can ask to generate a test case for my bubble sort program. Click on edit. I would like you to may not to have test in the repository yet, so we'll keep on accept. So here in this one, I didn't installed the PHP unit. So it asked me to choose either PHP unit, BHAT. There are two different testing tool or automation testing tool available. So ask me to configure it that well. So if we configure it, so in that same manner that PHP unit file works, it will generate my code. If you don't have that one, even that is possible. I can select my, like, close it. I will select this piece of code, right click, generate test. So here you can see that this tool create another file. File is not created, just give me a prompt. In this prompt, you can see all this different assertion comes. Assertion equals, these are the like few in unit test programming, like we have some assertion equal, assertion true, assertion false, some basic functions to write an automation test. So it create all those functions, whatever the possible solutions are there, test, and it provides some input for that. Test one, typically unsorted array. Test two, already sorted array. Test three, reverse unsorted array. Test four, array with duplicates. Test five, single element array, empty array. So it takes all possible values, even with a negative one, with the same elements. See? So generally, when we do test, we do a unit test. We test with like one or two or three unit cases. But with this example, it immediately write all possible scenario around 8 test case. It written automatically. You can see how much time it saves. If someone asks for a new developer or if a user has some experience of 1, 2, 3 years, for them it will take like few hours to complete this. But with this, it becomes a few minutes, or you can say a few seconds. If we get like practice to this tool, it will be like in less than a minute we're able to do it. For a generic task, it's very easy to incorporate with our tool. So it's the like beauty of it, and we can save this file and we can run this in our tool whenever you want. This is the example of our test. Another common example which I want to show you. I will not save it. Another part. We just now we complete just a recap what we did. As of now, we generate a new code with the help of generate keyword. We create some document with the doc parameter. We generate test based on this test parameter. Now we can do something for explanation. For example, this code is written by some other developer. I'm new to this project and I don't know what this code is doing. It's a big file. My manager asked me to first give me the reverse KT on the code, and then I have to modify based on the new requirement. So it will take few hours for that person. And with the help of this AI to GitHub Copilot, what we do, I can do select this code. Right now, we know it's a bubble sort, so we all know what the bubble sort do. But for example, some specific code related to some specific project requirement, we're not sure about it. So in that case, that become very simple. Like, I will select that code, right click, and generate code, and it will review it. Or even I can first what I want to do explain. So this is the example of a code conversion into natural language. I give my code as a prompt, and want explanation in my human language in English. So that's a code to a natural language conversion. I will make it a little bit enlarge. So here you can see a right explanation for this code. He selected code he's shown. And now in the workspace, you can see a complete documentation he created explaining all the function name, the parameters, and everything. With the swap variable, we set to 2. Give a big description, although we know this function is very simple. But let's assume like we have one big algorithm written for specific task, which just seeing the code we're not able to recognize. With the help of this unit test, sorry, with this explanation generator, we'll get in few seconds only. And through this, I'm initially like I'm new to this project. I don't know what the lines of the code do. So help me to explain. So I will spend few hours. I will explore different file and we keep on explain try to explain the code with the help of Copilot and give me a few glimpse and few history of that of the code written. And now you can imagine like before this tool how difficult this task is. Generally, the KT time in a project comes around 1 to 2 months. Generally, 1 month is on average a KT time where we do a knowledge transfer of how we write the code. But after coming this tool and like you're all like, keep on learning this AI tool, so I keep on decreasing that repetitive task which we are doing in a day-to-day life. So it keep on reducing that time. This is like one more example. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, you can ask and interrupt it in between. Feel free to ask any questions. And I will go back to my presentation now.
Any questions any participant would like to ask? Okay, sir, you can carry on.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, yes, please.
Hello, Abhijit Kalsi sir.
Hello. Sir.
Right, this side Nilesh Dokania.
Hello, Niresh. Sir. Don't call me
Hi,
sir.
hello. Hello.
Yes.
It's nice to hear you, and I'm really very happy. One question from my side. Actually, this is very good, prompt.
Mm.
Whatever I have seen that the whole algorithm explanation was there after generating the codes, algorithms details in right side, whatever you show us.
Yes.
So can can we explain the complexity also? Because I have seen the complexity, time complexity, like ON square has mentioned over there,
Yes.
right side.
Yeah, it can do.
So
I will try this example. So I will select this my code and I'll ask to explain and I will ask to explain the code complexity for bubble sort. Well, so now you can see it complete and try to
yes,
explain
yes,
the
yes. This is great,
yeah.
great. We can see the best case, worst case, average case, and every iterations details is showing, na?
Yes.
So it's great. And again, is this tool is free or in some advanced version it is, it
It's a free tool, like it's available in free as well. But in a free tool, we have a limitation to giving the number of inputs, or as you can say prompt. So I think the free tool, in if it's monthly around 2000 inputs or prompt we can give, after that it will get freeze.
And for test cases, whatever you explained earlier, so
Mhm.
test cases also can be generated a number of times. It's
Yes.
different test cases, or every time it will be showing the same test cases.
No, not same. Like it will based on the prompt which I ask. Right now, the prompt which I asked for generating a test that was very simple. But if I give a more inputs to it, it will keep on giving me different kind of a test case. The output will not be same. It based on a prompt which we ask, and with all relevant information, if we give to a prompt, it will give me a more relevant information.
So why not the earlier, whenever you inputted you asked to show the test cases, it was not because some internal link was not embedded inside that, I think so.
And not internally, it doesn't look into my code. Like we'll do it once again.
It
Like
is the test cases. If we
hmm.
ask, then it is free, na?
It's free, yes. Like it's not like based on the subscription which I take. I will generate a code, but I cannot generate test. It is not like that. Like, it is just number of prompt we can give.
Okay,
In a
okay,
free
okay.
tool,
Got
it's
it.
allowed 2000 prompt.
Okay, okay.
Yes, and we
Very true.
yes, and I don't want to waste my prompt. So if in a free tool, don't uh, like type any random words so that my number of prompts get decrease. That's the
And
only
is there a
difference.
limitation of the lines of codes, like
No, 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 not
algorithm
like that.
should be of
No,
200, 300 line, or
no, no, not like that. It based on the prompt only.
and it is the code is counting the comments also, or comments are escaped? Like n number of
Hmm.
comments are
N
there.
number of comments we
So
can do. Like
okay, okay.
the
Thank you.
yes, the only thing like the prompt which I type in this box, this it will
Got it,
count.
got it,
Yeah,
got it. Exactly
not
like
the
Python, exactly like Python.
hmm.
N number of times we can run the code, na?
Yes, yes, N number of time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Please, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yes, Kalsi ji, Abhishek
Yes.
Kalsi ji. Thank you. I want to compliment for you. Like nicely demonstrated you about this uh, co-pilot GIT. Sir, my question is like you are saying that it will take only few minutes for a expert programmer and a few hours for a fresher or the beginners.
Yeah.
So my concern is related to the job prospects for the beginner programmer and how it may impact on the jobs of the new freshers and all, and other potential security risks that I have written in chat also my question.
Okay. Okay. It was a nice question, and this is a common question whenever we use any Copilot. Like once we are like uh, we are dependent on any Copilot tool, not only this GitHub Copilot, any EA tool. So we might think like if 20% right now doing my job, 20% of my job is done by Copilot, and gradually in some months the percentage will keep on increasing, and someday it become 100% AI and 0% of human. That will not become in the future. Yes, few jobs will be get disrupted. Which kind of a job get disrupted? Which has a kind of a repetitive task they are doing. For example, if people uh, write the similar test case of work and that kind of a work, this this tool can also do. If I work on a like small task of bubble sort and this they can also do. But like when we work
My
on
concern is for the routine and repetitive jobs
a
only because the beginners are doing only that uh,
yes, that kind of
in the
repetitive
beginning
job
of their
which
career.
anyone can do, that can be replaced. But which can only few can work, that cannot be replaced. So in our coming years, on coming months, what like people have to learn, like in the world of AI, they have to be learn how to prompt it. The prompt engineering is very important, and based on the prompt, we can get our solution of a requirement. It's not like this tool can purchase by a client and client will do its coding. No, it needs some company, it needs some people to write the code. But at the end, what the solution is, again, AI will not give us the best solution. We give some task, it will give some output. It. But when we work on a big enterprise level project, we need a solution for it. And for that, we always need a good people in the market who can work on it. The jobs will be interrupted, but in future, yeah, it will be like more jobs will be generated through with the help of AI. That's why like the topic also in my you can see the tagline. This is a AI programmer. It's a co-pilot. Also the GitHub name is a co-pilot. Do it will helpful tool for us, but it cannot do everything from its own. The system is
Thank you,
changing.
Abhishek ji.
Yeah, yeah, welcome.
Actually, Abhijit ji, actually everything has a pros and cons. We need
Yes,
to use it as an assistant only, not
yeah,
our
as assistant only.
right. Thank
Even
you.
I remember, like few days, I seen some tweet of from the Microsoft itself. So they like say like jobs which will remain, which cannot be like overcome by AI is the programming, the how we write the code, the logic behind it. It cannot be replaced by any AI. This was a very good.
It's true.
Yeah.
The programmer, if you are an expert programmer,
Yeah.
you can create more AI, AI powered tools and all.
Yes.
But just my concern was for the beginners. It's okay. Everything has
Yeah.
a pros and cons. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It's a nice
Welcome.
presentation.
Yeah. Thank
Nice
you.
one. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
ma'am.
is Dr. Gayatri. Sir, I like you have explained many things, but for a beginner, like to take everything on a single instance, very difficult. But whatever I got it, sir, one question I have. How we can, like, from research point of view, or from writing research papers, what you suggest, sir, how to use this, any, can you, sir, throw some light on that part?
For research one, uh, again, uh, when we do research, our research topic will be big. So again, Copilot can help us to give a relevant information if he has. So like if that problem is somehow handled by some other people in the past, then Copilot can give us the data of it. But if no one work on that area till now, then even Copilot can't give us the answer. Even I told you the chat GPT, the GPT is a generative pre-trained data. So data which is already present in the world, it is trained from it. For example, there is no limitation of AI also. For example, something current, um, I can say a new technology developed, a new piece of solution developed, which even is not publicly available. So AI will not know it. So we can take the help from AI to provide me some research on that topic. So this is trained on a pre-trained data. It will help you if we give some good prompt to it. It help to some extent. Again, it's based on your prompt about how good prompt you can give, how beautifully explain your sentence so that he can give you relevant code.
Okay,
But
sir.
it will not help you like completely.
Sir, is it possible to share your PPT with us?
Yes, after this call, I will share you.
Yes,
I have
yes, yes,
some
sir.
limitation. This is my office laptop for the security constraint, but I will see how I can manage to
Yes, sir,
move
yes.
it here. Sure, I will do. Okay, so I will back to our slide. So this topic I already show you for the code completion in the natural language word, the example which I shown you. Now we'll some discuss about the AI use cases in our software development, the code generation, code optimization, bug detection, pre-detective coding, automation testing, all this. So in all different stage of our software development life cycle, this Copilot is like helpful. So the few example which I shown you in the PPT, the code generation part and the autocomplete part, the code translation, the code explanation and documentation, code refactoring optimization, the test generation, debugging assistant,
बस क्यों
DevOps
फटाफट आ
assistant,
जा
that all we can help in our like in our software development life cycle. We can use it in each phase. Let's see in some example. Okay. So with the interactive copilot, like I've already shown you, this is the same thing in this presentation. Like for a bubble sort program, I write function only, and it keep on suggesting me the next line of code. It has the inline chat option, which explained you how to open in Windows and Linux. It has the option to start to give the prompt in the query chat. I shown you like we have some with the help of the slash command. There are some common use cases. Some predefined tools are available to help to get the relevant information. The same thing we can see in the slides. test generation part. So this I already covered, so I'll not spend much time on it. Now we have GitHub Copilot, which we can see on the UI part, which is integrated to a Visual Studio Code. But there is Copilot also available on command line as well for people who work on a Linux on a command line to interact with the server. There also it is very helpful to get to know something about the command to get the next command, because in Linux there lots of commands are there. Few we are familiar, few we forget, few we have to search on the internet to get the complete command. So in that also Copilot has the option to install in our command line interface. So for that, there is an installation step mentioned. Again, this is a free one based on the subscription which we have. Right now, it's like free with the community version. Then after installation, there are two options that are available. Copilot, GH we have to give. This is GitHub. Copilot, this you can see predefined syntax, and then we have explain. So in this example, I put like uh, GH Copilot explain sudo apt. I don't know what is this. I have some command. I'm new to it. I don't want it. So it give me an explanation of what that command is actually does with all the possible options. And I can show you some example as well. Let's see here it is. So this is my normal CLI tool. I am using Windows only, and this is the normal PowerShell. So here, if you want to see the GitHub Copilot version, not installed in it, version 1.1 install, and couple of way to get the explanation. Like I can show you the explanation part, which I just shown you in that. Copilot explain apt get installed is a common command we use. I enter it. So now it will explain me the purpose of this code, the meaning of sudo, meaning of apt get, meaning of install, everything it will explain me. Like for example, I get a zip tool. So in the command, it will help me to understand what this command used to do. And even there is an option for suggestion as well. Like if we do, instead of explain we type suggest. It will again ask me some prompt. So it asks me three prompts. So I want a generic command, GitHub Copilot command, or Git command. Let's say generic shell command. So again, a few prompt come with an up and down arrow key. I can move it up and down. Copy command to clipboard, explain this command, execute this command, reverse the command, rate it. Let's say, uh, let's say execute, although it will not execute because it's a Linux command, but I am on Windows prompt. So it will not work, it will give me an error. But in a Linux command, if a Linux command, it will work. Although this tool is in like initial phase, it will helpful, but not that much of because of the limitation of the CLI. In the command line, we don't have that interface, so everything we need to type it. So that tool is not that much of good as compared to the tool which we use for the Visual Studio, which is very handy. We not required any technical support or technical background to start with. But the CLI is somehow a little bit tricky as compared to that, but still it is keep on evolving, and might be in few coming months it will like be more useful. Even now as well, because I am using the version ChatGPT 3.0 license one, might be with the 4.1 or 5.0. It has more option to do it. So we have this two right now. We two common commands are there. Copilot explain and the GitHub Copilot suggest. Now will something talk about uh, the the background. How the system works. Okay, so this in the background, the which is the we I told you like what we have used in this one. The codex, the what we type it here, the codex is trained on highly quality code repository on GitHub developed by Microsoft, which is partnered with OpenAI. So it's a partner with OpenAI. It uses that same GPT tool only, but it will read all GitHub repos, which is developed by all different community, which is publicly available. And right now it is using a ChatGPT 3 version, generative pre-trained transformer, which is we are using right now. So with this codex, what we do, we give a prompt to AI. That AI will give that prompt to the GitHub Copilot. It will search in the GitHub community and give us the relevant code. Okay, so there are like in some inbound and outbound rules are there when a data flow. When I write a prompt, it is like background when we write a prompt, what happened in the background level. This I was trying to explain you. So in the inbound one with this flowchart, which is a self-explanatory, in the code editor, I write something and give some prompt. But what happened in the background? We are connected to internet. My prompt will go to a proxy server, and through proxy server will go to a toxicity filter, and then it goes to LML, which is the large language model that will process our code. So in order to make it more secure, you can see it will goes to a proxy server so that whatever prompt I have pasted cannot be seen by other or cannot be available by anyone. Then we have a proxy filter, proximity filter in which we block all the traffics, not block the attempt to hack it. If some, for example, I write some prompt and if someone hack my system and it will interrupt my prompt in between and change the prompt and I'm getting something different. So that's the job of this proxy server to to mitigate all the attacks which comes in between. So we don't have to take care this Copilot on which this generative AI works. They have a proxy server which keep on filtering all those attempts, all those hacks. Then we have a toxicity filters. For example, if I write any abusive language or if I'm using any inappropriate word, so that's the job of this toxicity filter to remove it. So that the data which we're getting that is like a more secure and can be used in an organization. And due to this toxicity filter only, uh, which is like this tool is like getting popular in all the organization, and we're able to use it in our real world projects because we don't want to share our code base, which is meant for a certain client. It should go outside or uh, whatever the developers who are using this tool in their project, they are using inappropriate words or documentation. They have language some hate speech into it, or the language in which they've written is not good for the organization. So that all things have been taken care by this proxy server and the toxicity filter. So due to this reason, like it is like keep on using it. You might known about one common tool, which is a Grok.ai, which is developed by again Elon Musk only. But that Grok has what they do is kind of a true GPT. Earlier name was a true GPT. So there do not have any toxicity filter. If we write in abusive language, it will give an output in abusive language. And even it, if we type an inappropriate language to it in any language, it give an answer in that same context only. That's why the Grok is not like use it in the professional world. Only this tool till now, which we are familiar, which we can use it in our day-to-day life in any organization. The big fours, we can use it without any concern. And client is also you can say they have not any issues because they know it is like handled by GitHub and the Microsoft. So they manage their data. It should not be hacked and should not be shared with someone. Otherwise, it will for this kind of a tool where we install into our actual life project and which is a very big project and which has a concern to the company images, company professional images. So we don't want to move our contextual data to the outside world. So that's the beauty of this one. Then we have outbound flow, means after processing by LML, when we give a prompt, earlier when we give a prompt, it goes to proxy server and then toxicity filter and then it goes to the LML server. Now this outbound one, after going to LML, which is again third party, it's a open source chat GPT tool only. So when it goes to it, again, it will have its own proxy server to to mitigate all the attacks or hack which comes in between, and to do a toxicity filter if somehow we get some inappropriate word or hate speech from the incoming output, whether it's a code snippet or during explanation it writes some inappropriate language, it will remove it. So that's a two major operation of inbound and outbound tool in this tool, which helps to remove all those uh, inappropriate or hacks in between. What is normal as the few terminology which we used, which is very important in the AI tool to understand that. One is the LML, language, large language model. So as I told you, GitHub Copilot is an AI-powered coding assistant developed by GitHub in a collaboration with OpenAI. It uses a large model LML, especially based on Open AI Codex, that same ChatGPT which we are using now. And it's powered by ChatGPT 4, but it's on the version license which we have is not installed, but it's coming with a ChatGPT 4. And I developed this PPT. Might be at present it comes with the ChatGPT 5 as well on the paid versions. Okay, so this is one more important model comes fill in the middle, FIM model. So FIM model are trained to fill the missing code between the prefix and the suffix. So like here is an example. I write one code, return A plus B. So it will help me to give the previous code, the prefix code, add two numbers and a suffix as well. So this with the help of the FIM, so it's helpful for a developer to edit their code during their code development. Just to and they don't need to write from a scratch. They already have some piece of work, they already have some code, and they want to improve it. With the help of this AI suggestion, code suggestion, it will give me the previous prefix and the suffix code as well. Now we'll see in our life cycle, in our software development life cycle, how this AI is helpful in terms of analysis, planning, analysis, design, implementation, test designing, and maintenance. Okay, so for during requirement phase, how this tool is helpful to write a rapid prototype. During requirement analysis, I don't have a time to write the complete code, but we need to develop something and we need to small prototype so that we can see whether that is possible or not. If you write without this tool, it will take some hours or some days to it. But this with this tool, with this predefined data, I will generate some prototype with some predefined data and can see like for the what is the feasibility of that code, and we can even show that to the client the prototype which we developed. It helps us for creating a user story implementation as well. If someone created user stories in any Jira tool, or any agile methodology. If we have, let's say, they created 10 stories. So in that 10 story provided by the customer or from the Scrum Master, it gives some you can say piece of task with the acceptance criteria. We can pass that everything is as a prompt to Copilot and help us to generate the you can say the base of the code. And also for the API designing, it will give us the suggesting the API structure and the code. So what they actually help is like we don't have to write everything from the scratch. It will save our time to develop that structure so that we can start, and it will save our time. It helps us in the design and development phase as well. It has an option for boilerplate code generation. Boilerplate code is like something, a predefined task which we used to do. For example, when we create a website, we have a login functionality. We have a username, password, login button. It's the same kind of a code, same kind of a screen we need in every website. Login is must. So why to write everything from scratch for a login flow? So for that, if we write a prompt to write me an HTML page where I can have a login form with one input, one password, one submit button, and one captcha, let's say. So it can immediately generate that code. I can use it. Rest, what is happening at the background, that depend upon the requirement, whether we have it's a direct ID password login which go to the database and will validate that user, or it's a kind of a single sign-on which goes to a Google or Facebook or any SSO platform. That depend upon the requirement, but the basic of the login flow that is same. So it gives us the boilerplate code, a predefined task, which help us to save our time and to move fast in terms of productivity. In the design pattern as well, like I don't need to write the complete class. I writing a class, writing the functions, writing their constant variable, defining at the top. It helps us to write immediately that we don't have to write everything from the scratch. If I have to do my code optimization. I have a piece of code. I can optimize it very easily in few seconds or few minutes with the help of this AI tool. And the last one is the cross language translation. Like I have coded in Java, I want to convert into C Sharp or PHP or in another language to help me to translate as well. For example, I was searching, for example, uh, when we stuck in some programming or piece of code, we go to the internet, we search for the examples and some code available in the on the internet. But for example, I am writing my code in PHP, but the code available in the internet is Java. I can't copy paste it directly. But if I have that code in Java, I can translate it into my language and I can use it. That's the beauty of this AI tool. So in the design and development phase, these are the things we can do with our this tool. For the testing quality, as I told you, I've shown you like writing for unit test case creation, creating a basic file, creating a basic test case. It can generate immediately, but there might be some edge scenarios are there which is specific to customer requirements that are not a common. So that we can write by giving a more appropriate prompt. We can write, and that's for the test case part. During deployment, it also helpful. Like deployment is to deploy our code to a server as well. Uh, that has the with this CLI tool, we can help to automate our pipelines. Pipeline means the code deployment from our local environment to any dev server or production server. It can help for a deployment as well. For the API designing, user story implementation, prototyping, all are part of deployment. And next part for the maintaining and support, which is the usual work for many of the projects are available. So more than like you can say 60-70% projects work runs on a maintenance and support. So for that also this Copilot is useful. They don't need to go in details, no need to go everything. They can fix their bugs, they can improve their code with the help of Copilot explaining keyword. with the fix, with the review, and they will help us to maintain. So these are different life cycles in any software development which we used to work based on our role. Whether I'm a developer, I am a tester, I can use it, and I can write that, or I can fix that my code. Okay, this was my explanation for the tool. As you know, like this was the plans, different plans available on Copilot. One was talking for a free. So free has a completion of 20 prompts per month, and a premium request 50 per month. I'm not sure for the premium request. And chat and agent mode is limited. Here, what limited means, it not give me a limited code, but it will the model on which it's working that will be different. The free version will work on like Cloud 3.5. The Pro will work on ChatGPT 5 Mini, Gemini 2.5. Pro Plus again has something different, Enterprise has something different. But it's not like that we can only generate code, we not get test, that we can do everything with the free one, but only think of 2000 prompts per month, and the basic model we use at the backend, the Cloud 3.5, which is an open source. Nothing much different. So we can start with it, and any individual can use it with a free tool. It's enough for the normal day-to-day task. Oh, this is the most important part, the privacy and the data usage before using any tool to in an organization. That's the most important part. So the whatever prompts we type, the suggestion provided by the GitHub Copilot are not visible to GitHub Copilot itself, means GitHub organization itself or admin. That means if my company, let's say Capgemini, has purchased a license for all the employees in the company, let's say purchase 100 license given to 100 developers. When 100 developers work on different project, whatever prompts they are entering it, it will not save it anywhere. And the administrator of that account of that company cannot see what prompt people are doing. If somehow it doing, then that become a limitation of this tool, so people will not have that much of confidence, because there's no like whatever I'm typing, someone is like checking it. It is keep on saving in the history. So it is not with that this tool. It will not store our prompt or suggestion. So we can type whatever. It's free. Whatever we want to ask. It is has a privacy to your account only. So Copilot may collect limited telemetry information like performance data, error log, aggregate usage, number of completion generated. This kind of a generate data it will take, like how much useful for in terms of performance data, how much it useful for that particular user. Errors logs come into between, number of completion generated, like uh, that is for the uh, admin. They will come to know the analysis of that tool, whether it's really helpful for the organization or not. That this kind of data they will extract, but not what the user actually typing it. Whatever code I'm typing, that is not storing anywhere. For the business and enterprise level, it has the option for matrices to showing data in the form of graphs and charts for the company to understand in terms of the amount they invested, how much it is giving back to them. So they will come to know how this tool is useful, and they can share this information with the client, so that they come to know how much they are paying. They're actually valuable to that project. The conclusion of this one is no one and at GitHub can see your private prompt suggestion unless you explicitly share the code. If you share your code somewhere, then the Copilot cannot do anything. But your prompt and suggestion cannot be seen by anyone, not even GitHub organization as well. Uh, So at the last legacy, there is always inhuman in loop. As I told you, this GitHub Copilot is our assistant. which help us to make our productivity faster, but it's not going to replace us. So final accountability is at the developer only, not at the co-pilot. What is working, the developer has to see whatsoever he is writing and how he's using the code in his machine and in his task. He has to be like accountable for that. And for the security licensing correctness, again, it will the person has to check for that one. GitHub Copilot, that's why I call it. That's why GitHub called it's AI tool Copilot, not autopilot. So it is not autopilot, it can do everything of its own. I give my complete user story, and in few seconds it gives me all files or program, and my website is ready, my application is ready. It's not like that. It's my Copilot. It will keep on helping me to develop my task, but it will not do everything from its own. It need human intervention in between as been required. There are some limitation as well for this one about the Copilot. As for any tool, we have pros and cons, as ma'am says. We have also some limitations for this, the code quality and the reliability. So we cannot we cannot completely rely on this AI, like the suggestion, code suggestion, or the test cases suggestion by this copilot. We blindly keep it, we save it, and we think our job is done. It is not like that. It's our responsibility to check the code which is come to us. It serving are all the purpose or not. The test cases written by coming from the suggestion is might not include all the special or edge case scenarios which is which is required for that particular requirement, which only the developer or the team knows it. So that's the responsibility of the developers who are working on it to use it wisely, and even required to write his own code as well. It's not like we just keep on giving prompt, we're getting suggestion, and we thought our job is complete. We submit our task, not like that. We have to complete it. The next information which is you're not getting from Copilot. So it has some limitation on intellectual property license issue as well. So it may raise a legal concern when we are using some code. Might be I used one library, but which is not free. In day-to life, I using my project from my own, no one will come. But in an organization, if we use someone's intellectual property, any license or patent code, we are not sure. We use it directly. So it may cause very big penalty on the company and the legal issues. So that's the responsibility of Copilot, and for the organization, the team to keep on reviewing what the team is doing, and the limitation on the contextual and architecture understanding. So uh, I give some tasks to write me piece of code, they can help, but I have a one big architecture to implement, which is complex. I can't give my flow diagram chart to Copilot and develop my complete website. It's not like that. So again, we need some people who can write the solution, who have solution-oriented mindset, who can use this technology to fulfill small tasks and build complete enterprise level project. So that part of thing, Copilot cannot do. The privacy and the data sensitivity, and that is important for us to make sure, and the performance and the operational constraint as well. So these are the like limitations for the Copilot one. So I think this ends with the presentation. Now it's time for any questions or any suggestions you have for me.
The session is open for queries. Any participant who has queries can ask questions. Yes, any questions?
I think no.
Shall we conclude the session, sir?
Even you can have questions. Maybe after the session, you can contact me. Those who have my number, even I'm available on LinkedIn, so you can contact me. And if you have any queries, you can ask
Thank
me.
you, sir, for informative session.
Thank you very much.
And Dr.
Shall
Praveen Kumar,
we conclude,
and
sir?
I got new insights regarding the topic you presented. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Ravin sir.
So shall we conclude?
Yes, you can, Dr. Archana, but before the conclusion, hi, Mr. Abhijit Kalsi. This is Dr. Maninder Kaur, Director Management. And I would like to, it was great. Just wanted to welcome you, but no issues. Thanks a
Yes,
lot for today's session, because you have been agreeing to the taking this session, and I knew that
yes,
you will be delivering a very informative session. Thanks a lot. It was really very nice seeing you on the platform and getting words from you, and hope that we will have a great connection ahead with the institute as well as the students who
yes.
are aspiring for that. So we are just seeking that, and thanks to all the participants from my side. I also thank Dr. Ankit Rajpal, who was the first speaker today. And his topic was also very good, and deep dive. He's into deep neural networks, because the way he started talking about the brain and then coming down to the computers, how the things are being made up. And Abhijit taking up the GitHub Copilot. So they were really nice, and somehow the both the topics can be linked upon. Thank you to both of the speakers for the day, and stay connected. And thanks a lot. And I just also like to thank my team, who have been tirelessly working to make this FTP a success. Dr. Ekta, thankful for continuously on the portal working, and working along with my IT team, Mr. Nilesh and Dr. Shubhra. So, and obviously, once again, thanks to all of my participants from various, I think, cities joining this Atal FDP and taking the informative session. Thanks a lot to everyone, and good night. Stay tuned, and we hope we all will meet tomorrow again at 6 o'clock for further informative sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Indra.
Thank you so much, sir, for delivering such an informative session. Success isn't an overnight thing. It makes me feel proud of your achievement and making us understand the topic GitHub Copilot, your AI pair program, in simpler way. And what is understood is it is designed to help programmers to do their work more efficiently and creatively, not to take their jobs.
Right.
The Copilot empower developers rather than replace them.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So to express our gratitude for delivering such an informative session, I would request Mr. Abhijit Singh Kalsi to accept this virtual memento as a token of appreciation.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Hope to see you taking some more sessions in our college.
Sure, I will.
Now I would request all participants to open their cameras for group photograph.
It's done, Dr. Archana.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, Abhijit.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Okay, good night.
Thank you. Good night, ma'am. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Nice to see you, beta.
Thank you, ma'am.
Really, success doesn't come overnight. You have really made efforts.